We need a bigger room. Well, good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of Bedford City Council on January 21st, 2025. If you would please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Smith?
Here.
Asbury?
Here.
Longino?
Here.
Cochee?
Here.
Spinks?
Here.
Salvi?
Here.
Fluharty?
Here. Council, you have the minutes of the work session of January 6, 2025. Any corrections to those? Seeing none, can I have a motion for acceptance? Spinks, second by Fluharty. Call the roll, please.
Smith?
Here. Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Longino?
Yes.
Cochee?
Yes.
Spinks?
Yes.
Salvi?
No.
Fluharty?
Yes. And you have the minutes of the regular meeting of January 6, 2025. Any corrections to those? Seeing none, can I have a motion for acceptance by Longino, second by Asbury? Call the roll, please.
Smith?
Yes.
Asbury?
Yes.
Longino?
Yes.
Cochee?
Yes.
Spinks?
Yes.
Salvi?
No.
Fluharty?
Yes. Gee, I think, can we skip this next? Oh, no. This is really important. Just a little joke here. Swearing in of our new officers and a new hire is just always been one of the highlights of my career up here, and getting to swear in all these guys and bringing in new people into the department. That brings change to the departments, brings a lot of excitement to the departments, and it's good for the departments. And to say that all our promotions tonight are all homegrown, they're all from within the department. I think that's really important to recognize your own and to promote them up. And I would like to call all the fire guys and the new patrol officer come forward. Normally, we go through the oath with each person, but we have a nice large group tonight, which is awesome. And so I'm going to ask you guys to do the oath collectively, and when I get to state your name, go down individually, state your names, and then when I ask for the position, then you state your positions. Okay? You raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Brian Harding.
One at a time.
I, Gregory Pitts.
I, Brian Harding.
I, Tim Grody. I, Steve Bowser. I, Michael Scavo.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio
and the Charter and laws of the City of Bedford, Ohio,
and the Charter and laws of the City of Bedford, Ohio,
and faithfully,
faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties of the position of
discharge the duties of patrol officer.
Discharge the duties of the position of fire chief.
Discharge the duties of the position of assistant fire chief.
Discharge the duties of the position of lieutenant.
Discharge the duties for the position of lieutenant.
for the City of Bedford, Ohio,
For the City of Bedford, Ohio.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
somebody to pin your badge on.
I do, my wife Kelly. Thank you.
Okay, Chief? Would you like to introduce
Yeah, sure. I have my mom, Patty, stepdad Mike, Shanna, my youngest, Alyssa, my oldest daughter, Kelly, and I have a lot of other great friends and coworkers and family in the crowd tonight. So thanks for the support. I'd like to help say thank you to the city. They've always supported me over the last 25 years of my career, allowed me to participate in a lot of opportunities and programs that put me in a position to be ready to lead the department. I'd like to thank Chief Nagy for his years of service, guiding us in the department. And I'd like to thank the members of the Bedford Fire Department. There's no finer department around. I know that when I go home at night, put my head on the pillow, that I have the utmost confidence that they're gonna carry out the mission to the fullest extent possible and do everything they can for the citizens. So it's a good opportunity to move the department forward, and thank everybody that helped get me here. Appreciate it.
Assistant Fire Chief Tim Grody.
My wife Melissa.
Would you like to introduce?
My list is a little bit longer. I have my wonderful wife Melissa, my son Hunter, my daughter Haley, my daughter Francesca and her fiance Evan, my son Michael and his wife Megan, my neighbor Karen, my nephew Adam, my sister-in-law Karen, and my father-in-law Mike. And my son is watching from the Ohio State University, go Buckeyes. And my sisters are watching with my father back in Wisconsin at his assisted living facility.
Awesome.
So lots, and all my friends and family and coworkers that are here tonight, kind of like Brian, I just want to thank everybody for your support over the 25 years. Thank Chief Nagy for all of his support and all the things that he allowed me to do. Looking forward to working with Brian in this position as the Assistant Fire Chief and helping move this department forward also. Thank you.
Thank you. And with the chiefs, I want to also give a shout out to Chief Nagy and Assistant Chief Dopsloff for a tremendous job they've done over the years. There were two guys that, it's been so long ago that I was part of the hiring process when I was on the department. And tell this little story, but when Dave left the interview after we saw everybody, I turned around to the chief and the lieutenants and I said, one day that guy's gonna be chief. And he was, and done a great job. And Dan, I'm proud of all these guys. They all do just such a great job. Yeah, but for your service and your tenure over there is just a great thing. With that, Stephen Bowser.
My kids. just grateful for everything the guys have taught me over the last 10 years and taking me in after I got laid off from Maple Heights. So I can't wait to see what we can do together.
Michael Scavo.
Yeah, my kids help out too. My wife Nicole, might need some help. I'd like to thank my wife Nicole, daughters Amelia and Sophia, my mom Roman, my dad Mike, and my brother Brian. Thanks for all the support, guys. It's been a great couple days. Love you.
I think it's, what I did on first.
You want me to say something?
I'm sorry, no. You tell I was a fire guy, I got a father. We go through the ranks. You're the new guy here, so. But anyhow, Gregory, if you have someone to put your badge on.
Well, I'd like to thank my mom, my dad, most of all, my family for coming out, my friends, Chief Staff, appreciate you for taking the chance on me, the whole city of Bedford, not only the police department, but the whole city. I just want to let you say thank you, most of all, and I'm excited for the opportunity and ready to get started as soon as possible.
Yeah, I'm just so proud. We had, I say the best two departments in Northeast Ohio, maybe in the state. These guys do a tremendous job day in and day out. And now you can, want to say a few words?
First off, I'd like to thank City Council, City Administration. We've been going through a lot of hiring lately, and we've had nothing but the utmost support from them. We're super excited to have Greg on board. We were all very impressed with him when we had our interviews, and we're excited for him to make his way through the academy and be on the road with us. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
Chief Daggy, any words? You can tell you're retired. No, and again, congratulations, you guys, and we look forward to seeing you out on the streets, taking care of us.
Thank you.
Congratulations, all of you.
Cake time.
Save me a piece, Chief.
Yeah, we'll take a little recess here. council, we, ready to go here? We have unfinished business, ordinance number 71-24.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 093-23, authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with GPD Group for engineering services within the city of Bedford and declaring an emergency.
I have a motion for suspension by Fluharty, second by Spinks. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochee,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Yes.
Salvi, Fluharty.
Yes. The motion for third and final by Smith, second by Asbury. Mike?
This is our annual contract with GPD Group for engineering services for various professions for the city of Bedford. GPD assists us with obviously general engineering, roadway work, but they also specialize in our public utility and all of the engineering that goes into our wastewater utility, our water utility. They also assist with unique projects such as the Bedford Commons project, as well as all of our permit renewals. And they're assisting our staff members in those renewals in reference to the Ohio EPA, as well as grant applications. They've assisted us through grants to improve the headwork design at the wastewater plant, one that's recent. They've also assisted us through obtaining funding for the Greencroft culvert project. So they provide a number of different services, and this contract sets the rates for the individual professions.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochee,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes. Reports, Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. A few items I just want to touch on. First is the Cleveland Metro Parks has notified us that they're going to be performing calling within the Bedford Reservation that is scheduled to take place between January 16th and March 14th. During periods of the calling, the entire reservation will be closed. There will be proper signage placed at the entrances. Like to just touch on, there's a property on Center Road that's been a challenge for us. It's been vacant for many years. That is 427 Center. We were recently notified that the land bank is working to acquire that property, and they are going to completely renovate that. And we hope that that will take place this year. Mayor, you touched on the quality of our departments, specifically the safety forces. And I just want to touch on one directly relating to the fire department. We received our summary for our ISO rating last week. And that rating came in, Bedford was rated as a 2. There's a lot that goes into that, but I can tell you that that rating is the best rating a city our size can obtain. Can't get any better. And when I say there's a lot that goes into that, they obviously look at all of our staffing levels, they look at age of equipment, they look at policies and procedures within the fire department, they look at our building department, they look at ordinances, codes, all of those things, and all of that gets compiled into a rating that we're designated with. And that rating has a direct reflection on businesses and residents' insurance rates. So that's great. That's a huge thumbs up to the staff and the departments, and that just kind of goes into what you were mentioning, the quality of the operations here. Lastly, actually no, there's 2 items. One, there's a planning commission meeting tomorrow. The planning commission is going to be reviewing a project from the Bedford City Schools, which will be a new construction on the former Chanel property. That will be a new 80,000+ square foot school building for grades 6 through 8, as well as approximately 10,000 square foot space for administrative offices. The estimated cost, hard cost of that project is north of $30 million, and the construction timeline that is being proposed is March of 2025 through August of 2027. And again, Planning Commission will be reviewing that project and will be presenting a recommendation to City Council, which will be in front of this body at the February meeting. And end of report.
Thank you. Law Director is not with us tonight. Finance.
Mayor, thank you, Mayor. There's no specific report. Just wanted to congratulate all the new people in the new positions, fire chief, assistant fire chief, the 2 lieutenants, and the new patrol officer. Thank you.
Thank you. Council. Mr. Smith.
First of all, I'd like to say good evening. Secondly, I'd like to congratulate our new chief, assistant chief, both lieutenants, and Officer Pitts. Officer Pitts, I actually know him. I've been knowing him since he was a kid. His father and I are part of the Masonic organization, so we've come up through that, for the last 26 years. So I've seen him grow. I have no doubt this young man will serve Bedford to the best of his ability. You can take that to the bank, and they will cash it. It's always good to see our forces grow. We're obtaining some of the cream of the crop, and to fulfill most of these positions. There are other departments that I know, that I think, and I do know, that wish they could be a part of our safety forces or part of our workers, or so our employees. So we will continue to grow. We will continue to do the things necessary to make Bedford shine. In the report.
Thank you. With that, we thank our Civil Service Commission.
One of many.
One of many, yes. You guys do a great job. Mr. Asbury.
Thank you, Mayor. Like everyone else, I'd like to congratulate Chief Harding, Assistant Chief Grody. I don't want to say their names, I'm going to get them right. Lieutenant Bowser, Lieutenant Scavo, and our new patrol officer, Pitts. The 4 we know, they do a great job and very deserved promotions. Officer Pitts, I'm taking it for granted that he's going to do a great job because I'm going to that bank to cash that check.
Yes.
So congratulations to all of them. I'd also like to thank the service department again. We had some pretty heavy snow over the weekend, and again, they did a great job. Some of the side roads are packed with snow, but it's so damn cold. You cannot clear that snow off. But they have been plowed. The main streets are great. I leave for work at 20 after 5. Yesterday morning, today's Tuesday, right? Yeah. Yesterday morning, I had no issues going down Broadway at 20 after 5. So great job by them again. Just like to reiterate that sidewalks are the homeowner's responsibility, as well as businesses. If you have a sidewalk in front of your business, you are tasked with keeping that clear. Mike, that's not getting done so well in the downtown area. If we could just maybe send out a letter, a reminder letter to some of these businesses. Some do. Some are taking very good care of the sidewalks, and we appreciate that. But there are some that aren't. So those are your responsibility. I would like to also congratulate the Ohio State University for winning the 2024 college football championship. And hopefully that team up north was nice and warm and toasty as they were watching the game on their couches from their houses yesterday. So go Bucks, congratulations.
Mr. Longino.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Once, like everybody else, congratulations, but it could never be said enough to our promotion, our chief, assistant chief, and our lieutenants. Mr. Pitts, or excuse me, Patrolman Pitts, congratulations. I gave him some advice. I said something that I wish someone had told me 38 years ago when I became a rookie. Yoga. I know that sounds like really, but if my bad back at 57, and every cop you meet, they'll tell you about their bad back, and as a fireman too. So if I could do it all over, I would start taking yoga my first day in the military, or not, because I'm feeling it now at 57. see somebody sworn in or get promotion, I start missing my days on the Civil Service Commission. So these, you know, I do miss my days there, but I definitely enjoyed it. So I also want to say, you know, piggyback on what Jeff was talking about, the snow removal. Be safe. I'd rather have to walk through snow than the squad have to come pick somebody up because they're out there trying to shovel snow and have some kind of, I lost an uncle, I think it was 3 years ago now, out shoveling snow, and he was being nice, shoveling somebody else's snow, some of his elderly neighbors, and he ended up having a heart attack while he was out there shoveling. So take your time if you're gonna do it, and once you start feeling it, believe me, even with a snowblower, it's work, you know. But like I said, I think Mike and everybody else can contest, we'd rather have people complain about your yard and, you know, you're laying out there in the snow. Remember to pick up your cans, start doing that, because I know still a lot of people that want to take their cans out of the garbage, it's like they feel it's too cold to go get them, you know, but you gotta do it. You know. I wanted to say the old get-go, I've been in communication with the owner and his son, and I'm supposed to get together with them this week to get some update, but naturally with the weather, that's slowing down the process of getting it done, but they're definitely working on it, but we're gonna sit down and he's just gonna give me some updates on what's going on with the old get-go, so.
What brand is that?
Huh?
What brand gas is that?
I think it's,
Oh,
okay, I was gonna say Sunoco, so. Yeah. But Mike said he would know. So that's coming, like I said, but it's just a matter of, you know, the process is slowing down because of the weather, but, I think that's about it. I yield my time.
Thank you. Mrs. Spinks.
Piggybacking on what everybody else, congratulations to Brian Hardin, Tim Grove, Stephen, Michael, and Mr. Pitts, Patrol Officer Pitt. It's pretty cool because he is a whole family, mother, father, uncle, I think cousins that are all in police, so that's pretty cool. See that a lot, and it's being a proud mother of a police officer myself. That's kudos to them, and I'm looking forward, nothing but good things. We are very blessed, and thank you, Civil Service, for always coming through. We've been really blessed to get some really good guys in on both sides, fire department and police department. Try to kind of go on what Mr. Asbury said, Jeff said about the side roads and stuff, but our guys doing a great. I did get a call today, and gentleman on Flora was saying, oh, our streets, you can't, you know, they're not clear, there's still snow on the other streets are cleared, and our guys, you know, with it being so cold, and try to explain to them, a lot of times they won't go out and salt because it's too cold. And Mike, will you kind of go over that? We talked about it, the main intersections, and why you will see, like I said, the snow will get packed on some of these side streets. So Mike, just kind of.
Sure. Well, one of the things that the city does follow, and their recommendations years ago was put together by service director organizations, as well as working with the Ohio EPA, was we do follow sensible salting practices. So what that means is, and it really comes into effect when we're having a winter like we're having now, where, you know, unfortunately we have salt. Were we low yesterday? Yeah, we were extremely low, but we were not out. You know, with sensible salting practices and following those guidelines, you're obviously salting your main roads, your secondaries, you're focusing on intersections, you're focusing on the hills. You don't just go blanket with that spreader wide open, because that salt enters into the catch basins, they go through the, obviously there's effects on the environment and whatnot. So primarily they're focusing, especially throughout the weekend and when it's this cold, you know, salt doesn't work as well as it does when it's 25 degrees outside. So, you know, we look to address the intersections, the hazardous areas of hills, the mains, and the secondaries. And then obviously we just do standard, you know, snow removal. I will say, while we were almost out, we did get, there is more salt on order. But for those of you that remember, we're part of a consortium when we purchase our salt, so we work with other communities, and we basically have to guess how much we'll go through. And then all of that's combined, and then it's bid out, we get the best price possible. We've been doing great until this year. So we have and it's gonna be included in the memo this week to City Council. The bid price was approximately $49 a ton is what we spent this year. We've exceeded the amount of tonnage that we had indicated that we would purchase. So now we will unfortunately, just like any other city that has exceeded their amount, and many have, you're at the mercy of the provider. So moving forward, every ton of salt that we get is going to be substantially more expensive. We have not been provided that number yet from the contractor, but once we do, we'll share that with City Council.
Thank you, that was, you went through real depths of that. Thank you for the, and talking about sidewalks, I'd like to thank, our neighbor Eddie Dvorak got out there in the cold snow, and made sure that our sidewalks were done. Nobody's really walking because it's so cold, but, thank you, and that's nice to have good neighbors that pitch in. And Bob did go out and say, hey, it's too cold out there to be doing that. So yeah, seniors help out your neighbors when you can. We didn't deliver, felt so bad for the mailman today, and I was like, felt bad because I left a lot of snow on the, our front step, but I was worried there was so much ice underneath it that I didn't want to, knock that snow and have nothing but a sheet of ice out there, so. Also, yesterday there was a water main break on Greencroft, and kudos to our guys that got on top of it and got it done pretty fast. We didn't lose water over the Greencroft area, it was just low pressure, and it was good because they didn't have to have to boil or anything, boil alert or anything like that. So that was good. Kudos again to those guys for jumping on it on a holiday in that very cold weather. The project, the culvert project that's going on in Greencroft, due to the cold weather, they weren't out there today, and they will not be out there tomorrow because it's just the weather not only affects the workers, but it also affects the equipment. So they will be back up and running, I believe Thursday, Mike, they said weather permitting, they were back, but they're doing an awesome job on that. They've already done a lot, so I have a feeling that it's gonna be less than 45 days, but, again, thank you to the residents, and everybody, the school bus drivers and stuff that are operating with the detours and stuff and the inconvenience of it, but it will be up in, we'll be up back and working on it on Thursday. Let's see. End of report.
Thank you. Mr. Sullivan.
Good evening. Congratulations to Fire Chief Harding, Assistant Fire Chief Rote, new Lieutenant Stephen Bowser, Michael Scavo, hopefully I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I'm confident they will provide competent and proactive leadership for the Bedford Fire Department. Best wishes to retiring Chief Nagy and Assistant Fire Chief Daniel Dobsloff for your many years of dedicated service to the residents of Bedford. Congratulations and best wishes also to new patrol officer Gregory Pitts III on joining our Bedford Police Department. Ward 2 residents' visits and phone calls. Archer Road alleged attempted robbery, January 2nd, 2025. An Archer Road resident called me to report an attempted robbery about 6:30 p.m. Thursday, January 2nd, while she was in her vehicle on Archer Road. The victim was a longtime Archer Road resident. The victim reported that her vehicle was followed on Archer by a dark four-door sedan. The sedan was driven erratically, following dangerously close to her vehicle, and eventually illegally pulled alongside her vehicle, at which time one of the three African-American males demanded money before the victim fled to a home of another Archer Road resident. Police were called. The victim reported that the BPD officers responded quickly to the scene, but were unable to locate the sedan. The BPD investigation continues. Wellman Street shooting. A Wellman Street resident called me to report multiple gunshots in front of his family's home last week. He reported that 9 shots were fired. Police were called and responded quickly. The resident reported that BPD officers found several bullet shells in the street, but the shooter or shooters had left the scene. I visited the site of the gunshots, but did not find additional shells, which likely would have been carried away by subsequent snow plowing. Wellman Street vacant home. The shooting was near a vacant home. That home has been a concern for neighbors for several years due to the quantity of people moving in and out of the home and poor maintenance of the property. I completed basic legal research to find out if the New York-based foreign corporation is following Ohio corporate registration laws. I forwarded my findings to Law Director Montello to see if he agreed with my legal analysis. Regarding the property being in compliance with Bedford's maintenance and occupancy ordinances, I appreciate the administration's follow-up on residents' complaints. Apparently, the property owners sent someone to secure the property the next day. My visit to the home found the previously open windows now closed. Family Dollar robbery. After visiting a business in my ward recently, I was told by staff that the Family Dollar store on Northfield Road was recently robbed. Mike, can you confirm that the Family Dollar store was recently robbed? And if so, what can you tell the public about what happened?
I can't report anything on that right now. I don't have anything in front of me. I do want to provide one clarification though. Those items that you had stated that were recovered on Wellman, there was no shell casings recovered. Those were not shell casings that the police department recovered.
Okay, thank you.
Police did respond, as you had mentioned. There was no shell casings, and they did canvass the properties and vehicles, and they, while they're not denying that that occurred, and obviously residents heard that, there were no homes struck, no vehicles struck, there was no evidence of anything with bullet holes in it.
And I did not find any as well. And I will speak with the resident about the shell casing. That's what I was told.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Yep.
Right. Bay Market property. Most of you who pay attention know I've been persistent over the past year to get the Bay Market property eyesore cleaned up. I'm sorry that I didn't consider buying the property myself, so improvements would happen immediately. Ghetto-looking, dirty, rundown commercial properties act as a magnet for criminals. They scare away good residents, businesses, customers, event visitors, and economic investment which might otherwise have been made. An article published by the Bloomberg Center for Cities at Harvard University agrees with this analysis. In an article about data-driven strategies for blight removal, it states abandoned properties, vacant lots, and other signs of neglect can lead to economic decline, increased crime, and decreased quality of life for residents. End quote. What concerns me is that the new owner is the same old tenant who demonstrated or was responsible for such terrible conditions that the business was shut down by the Cuyahoga County Health Department. The tenant also took no steps to remedy the problem inside or outside the property. The worst business owners are those who have no clue how to run a business, have too little money to run a business properly, and those who do not care how their actions negatively affect neighbors, the neighborhood, and city. There are no legitimate excuses to justify the behaviors of the prior owners or tenants who created this urban-like blight in Ward 2. Mike, what is the city's next step in getting this property cleaned up?
So the new owners were issued the violation notice, as reported at the last meeting. I believe there's still a number of items that are remaining. As stated, we have to go through the process of issuing multiple notices. Once they're received their final notice and there's zero compliance, that is the step that the city is able to issue citation, and that matter will go in front of Bedford Municipal Court.
Is there any reason a final notice can't be completed now?
I would refer to, and I would have to ask the law director, I would not want to treat one individual or entity different than what we've created in the past to create an impression as if we're targeting them or being biased towards one or another. We've always followed steps of first notice, second notice, and then move towards final and citation. I can ask the law director that question. We've always tried to be consistent with the process.
Right, I understand, but I brought this process, this property has been an eyesore for years, and it's almost a year after I was elected last year ago, January.
It had changed hands, so legally, even though the previous owner, they were on their second or third notice, it has since legally changed to a new owner. We can't keep it at the same status. That new owner has to legally be given a first and then go through. I'll ask the law director his opinion. I'm only going off of past. We can't hold, if you were on the verge of getting cited for, let's say, your residential property, and we're a day away from issuing a legal citation and forcing you to appear in court, and then you sold it to someone, we wouldn't issue them a citation and walk them up to court. We would give them the same courtesy of going through. So while I'm not disagreeing with your point that there are violation notices, we're extending the same processes as far as timelines. And I'll ask the law director if he's comfortable with escalating that. That would have to be his call, and I would defer to him. We're simply following the steps that we've always been consistent with how we treat any resident and or business owner.
I understand, that makes sense. Do I not correctly understand that? I thought the tenant would be able to be cited as well.
Well, the past was we'd cite the property owner.
Right, but could the tenant, or should have, could you have cited both the property owner and the tenant?
I don't believe we could cite the property owner or the tenant for issues with the specific property, be it the parking lot or whatever. We would go after the property owner in that case.
I understand, but what, the city has no control over, can't cite them for interior issues that were, I think, quite evident just looking through the windows of that building.
I'll ask the law director his
Okay.
position on that.
Thank you.
We can.
Mike, has the city or county completed a census of commercial properties in Bedford that would be classified as eyesores and in need of rehabilitation or demolition? If so, could you please share it with council?
I could provide you a list of properties as far as residential. There is one that is commercial that we have since condemned, that we are working towards demolition. It's about securing the funding. We don't typically budget those funds for demolitions annually. We look to try to secure outside grant dollars to do that, but there are homes, both homes and a commercial building that I know of, and I can provide that in a weekly report. I don't believe the county does census like this. I could inquire, but we're familiar with those, and the majority of the ones that are listed, and is, if you would want to clarify them as eyesores or not, we view it as if there's a property that has violations. We have a list of those that obviously are going through the process. Either there's orders and we're working with a property owner on those, or there's ones that are in court and they're dealing with it on those from that standpoint.
Thank you, thank you. Regarding ordinance number 0032-25, Ellenwood Gymnasium roof replacement contract, which we're going to vote on today. I'm in favor of getting any roof repairs to the Ellenwood Center repaired. That said, I would like to have time to submit an amendment to the ordinance. I would like to add a section 6, which would require the contractor to certify in writing that all employees and all individual persons acting on behalf of subcontractors involved in the work of this contract are legally eligible to work in the United States. The section would also provide for a sum certain for money damages or a total allowed by law to the primary contractor and all subcontractors. I want to be clear that I am not inferring that Barnes Roofing, Inc. hires illegal aliens. I believe this contract clause should be included in every construction-related contract. The roofing industry is significantly corrupt when it comes to knowingly hiring foreign nationals who are not legally present in the United States, let alone work in the United States, violating not only federal U.S. immigration laws, but also federal and state labor laws. Legally operating roofing companies should welcome such a clause because it protects their businesses from corrupt competitors who cut corners to undercut and win bids. Furthermore, as we have seen, other federal laws have proven paper tigers, and the federal government is too far removed to be effective, which is why it is up to states and municipal governments who make these contracts to keep these companies honest. If I am unable to have this ordinance amended, I will likely vote no today. Snow removal. Thanks to all city workers who were some way involved in snow removal from city streets and property. That is a big job, especially with so many snowstorms that have come through our city. It takes a toll on all involved, especially plow drivers and those who have to spend many hours outside. I personally saw workers working in frigid temperatures repairing a city truck that had lost its heavy plow on Taft Avenue. One of the city's large construction vehicles had to be called in to help lift the plow back into place. Historic downtown business district snow removal. I work downtown Bedford and regularly clean the snow from the sidewalk in front of the law office. Several other businesses routinely clean their sidewalks too. However, there are too many businesses that rarely or never shovel the snow in front of their storefronts. Mike, who is legally responsible for shoveling the sidewalks in front of their properties on Broadway and downtown Bedford?
I believe the property owners.
Thank you. Inoperable street lights. I had a resident indicate a street light is not working on Wellman Street. Residents can report street light outages to the illuminating company. Also report the 6-digit pole ID number, which is located on a metal plate attached to the pole. Mike, I recall the city takes an annual or biannual census of all inoperable street lights. Has the illuminating company made repairs to all inoperable street lights reported by the city in 2024?
They have not. They made a substantial, substantial progress with the ones in the spring. I don't know if they corrected all of them. We recently sent out the fall. We go out in the spring and the fall, so it's usually, March, April we're out, and then we're back out in October, November. So I don't know where they're at as far as the checklist on the November. I can look into that though.
Okay, thank you. Unsealed asphalt street cracks. The recent snowstorm, salt plowing and freeze-thaw periods are doing a lot of damage to our streets. Is there a way that we could do a bit of a better job at sealing all these cracks to limit potholes and the ultimate cost to the...
Yeah, I mean, some of our challenges, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but we are doing, we were just awarded another grant, preventative maintenance through the county last week, and we've been putting that towards crack sealing. We've crack sealed Union, we've crack sealed some of the, Columbus Road, Rockside Road, those large streets. I don't know if it would be possible to crack seal all of our streets. I think the challenges that we're seeing, I'll use a couple streets in Councilman Asbury's ward, and we talk about West Glendale. West Glendale is, I mean, it really needs to be resurfaced. You know, all of those joints in this cold weather are buckled. We have a number of streets that have been 25, 30 years since they've been repaved. Our challenge is we restored our road program back in 2018. We budgeted what we used to budget 15, 20 years ago, which was about $400,000 a year. So there's two issues that we're facing. Issue number one is $400,000, we'd be able to resurface 3, 4, in some cases 5 streets 15 years ago. Now, due to the costs, that $400,000, we're lucky if we get 2 long streets. So that hurts. And then secondly, you know, that's challenge number one. Challenge number two is, you know, obviously that money not stretching as far, but it's the number of streets that we have that haven't been touched in 25, 30 years. When we used to do streets, those streets would last 20 years. Now, you resurface a street, if you get 15 years, you're lucky. So not only is it costing more money to do these streets, the life expectancy is significantly shrinking. So we're finding ourselves in a position where we will never fully catch up. Now, that's not an excuse. We've talked about it internally. I've talked with the finance director, service department. You know, in the coming years, does it make sense for us to really make a dent and look at a large-scale road program where we may possibly borrow funds like we did years ago, and we do a number of streets and catch up? I think we're probably going to be looking at that. We go out every spring and do an assessment of every street in town. That's our engineers and our service department, and we basically score them. And it's condition, it is when the last repairs were made, when was the last time we actually did a full resurfacing, and then we can rank those streets. We met last week and we haven't done that assessment yet, but we know some streets that we have to address. We have to address the Palmetto extension. That area is crumbling. That's $150,000 and it's not even a full street. So, you know, in a perfect world, we could address all those joints, but some of these streets that are 25, 30 years old, we need to resurface them before we do that. And you're seeing more now with it being 10 degrees. You know, when it's 25, 30, those joints aren't buckled like they are now. I'm not making excuses,
Right.
but it's always worse when you drive through now and drive through when it's, you know, 35. So.
Thank you. End of report.
Mr. Fluharty.
Woke you up too, huh? I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, I should start taking notes. I want congratulations to the new officers for the fire department and police department who started off with that. Bits and the other 4 firemen for their promotions. Mike, with the snow problems we're having, and these cars are, during the day, are parking on the street all day. We need to, I know it used to be, they used to call them in to PD to come give them a ticket or get them off the streets. I don't think they're doing that. Because these same cars have been on, and they're right in front of me. That's how I know, I can't imagine all the other streets. But that's just in front of me, I can see 3 cars all day long. They park it and just take off. And plows go right around them. And that's, you know, they can't stop doing that. So I don't know what the procedure still is, if it's that same procedure that we, you know, I hate to have to call it in myself. I figure that's what they're supposed to do. Just to throw it at them that they need to start enforcing that. We've been letting it get off a little too far here. I don't remember else what I was gonna say, so I'm gonna say end of report.
Thank you. Let's get on with business. Ordinance number 2-25.
An ordinance amending the transportation services contract with Senior Transportation Connection LLC for transportation services for the residents of the city of Bedford and declaring an emergency.
I have a motion for suspension by Smith, second by Asbury. Call Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Coche,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Motion for third and final, by Spinks, second by Fluharty. Mike?
Yes, Mayor, this is an amendment to the original agreement that we have with STC. We subcontracted with them just prior to COVID to provide transportation for our seniors and those with that are disabled. There's a slight adjustment in the individual trips. Previous rate of $37 is increased to $38.11. The majority of that covered by the city, not the resident. And then they did add a clause in there in regards to cancellations and no-shows, where they do reserve the right to charge the city for those.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Coche,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Ordinance number 3-25.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Barnes Roofing, Inc. for the replacement of the roof over the gymnasium at the Ellenwood Recreation Center and declaring an emergency.
This, I believe we would like to place on first reading. I have a motion for such. By Smith, second by Longino. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Coche,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
No.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Ordinance number 4-25.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Simplex IT for replacing multiple devices in the city of Bedford and declaring an emergency.
Again, we would like to put this on first reading. Can I have a motion for such? Fluharty, second by Spinks. Can I just touch on that for a second?
Yeah, Mayor, sure. City has over 100 and I believe it's almost 150 desktops and laptops throughout the city. Simplex is our IT consultant. We, the finance director and myself, meet with them and get an assessment annually. There are approximately 15 devices that are classified as critical that are in need of replacement this year. By the end of the year, they will not be supported by the current operating system. There are approximately 45 that are on a medium priority level, and then the remaining are in good standing. Our goal or our plan would be to address those that are critical this year, as well as a substantial amount of those listed under the medium priority this year. And then we would address the other medium priority items in 2026. This allows us to spread out the replacement of these units and avoid these lump sum costs where we're replacing 100 at one time.
Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Coche,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Ordinance number 5-25.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Atlantic Emergency Solutions, Atlantic, for body and paint repairs to a 2020 squad in the fire department and declaring an emergency.
Got a motion for suspension by Longino, second by Smith. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Coche,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Motion for third and final. Fluharty, second by Spinks. Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. As the ordinance states, we had purchased a 2020 squad from Horton Emergency Vehicles. That squad was returned on two separate occasions, the first being in 2020, the second being in 2024 for paint warranties. We entered into a separate MOU with Horton to address any further issues that are under warranty to contract outside with Atlantic Emergency Solutions, which is located in Macedonia. The primary reason for this is to expedite these repairs so that that unit is not out of service with us having to ship it out to Horton and then waiting for those repairs. Horton has agreed to utilize Atlantic for those repairs, and they will reimburse the city 100% of this warranty work. So it's our desire to enter into the contract with Atlanta. We can send our squad over to their facility in Macedonia, and we can get these repairs done and that apparatus back in service as quickly as possible.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochi,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Ordinance number 6-25.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 020-23, approving a community reinvestment area CRA agreement between the City of Bedford and 14735 Holdings, Inc., DBA Cleveland Tank and Supply, located at 15 Hemisphere Way, consisting of 5.8 acres of permanent parcel number 814-07-001, so as to reflect the new permanent parcel number 814-07-009, hereinafter referred to as the owner, and authorizing execution of any amendments that agreement necessary and declaring an emergency.
Motion for suspension by Spinks, second by Fluharty. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochi,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Motion for third and final by Asbury, second by Smith. Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. I will give two brief examples of why we're amending these two ordinances, this current one and the next one. Initially, when the ordinances were put in place for Cleveland Tank and Supply and Lakeshore Electric, Tinker Street Commerce Park was just recently acquired by the City of Bedford, and it was one giant parcel. Since then, they've been parceled out and the developments occurred. Cleveland Tank now has their own parcel number, Lakeshore has their own parcel number. In order to properly report to the state of Ohio and Cuyahoga County for these tax abatements that the city has offered them, we're amending this legislation to reflect their new parcel number so there's accuracy in our reporting.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochi,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Ordinance number 7-25.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 021-23, approving a community reinvestment area agreement between the City of Bedford and Capstone Land Holdings 2, DBA Lakeshore Electric Corporation, located at 5 Hemisphere Way, consisting of 7.46 acres of permanent parcel number 814-07-001, so as to reflect the new permanent parcel number 814-07-007, herein referred to as owner, and authorizing execution of any amendment to that agreement and declaring an emergency.
A motion for suspension by Spinks, excuse me, and second by Fluharty. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochi,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Motion for third and final by Asbury, second by Longino. Mike, you gave the explanation for both of those. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochi,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Ordinance number 8-25.
An ordinance retroactively reclassifying previously advanced funds to transferred funds within the Northfield Rockside Meadowbrook West Fund 404, and then transfer the remaining cash balance to the Capital Improvements Funds 403 and declaring an emergency.
We have a motion for suspension by Asbury, second by Longino. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochi,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
advanced to this fund in anticipation of a completion of a project to basically dedicate roads to the city. This project is now been canceled, and so just as a matter of procedure, we need to go back and reclassify those advanced funds as transfers so that that fund now will not owe back to the general fund the funds that it can't pay back anyhow. So, and then in the end, the remaining funds of $3,400 would be transferred to Fund 403, which is our capital improvements fund.
As long as you know what all that is. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochi,
Yes.
Spinks.
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Ordinance number 9-25.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Julian and Grube, Inc. for compilation services for the 2024 City of Bedford audit and declaring an emergency.
Motion for suspension. Speak second by Fluharty. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochi,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Motion for third and final by Asbury, second by Smith. Jen?
Thank you, Mayor. This is for an agreement with Julian Group for them to help the city of Bedford prepare the financial statements for audit. Previously, the city had been using local government services. It's a division of the Auditor of State's office, and they're unable to perform the service at this time. So for 1 year, we're going to, for at least 1 year, we're going to go to use Julian Group for this service.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochi,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Ordinance number 10-25.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with GPD Group for actions relating to the City of Bedford MS4 MPDES permit and declaring an emergency.
Motion for suspension by Fluharty, second by Spinks. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochi,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Motion for third and final by Smith, second by Asbury. Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. As a requirement, the city is working to renew our MS4 MPDES permit with the Ohio EPA. There are a number of tasks that we need to complete, which GPD Group is going to assist with these support services. One of them is to establish a corrective action plan, stormwater management program plan. We also have to amend a number of city ordinances, and it's all relating to the stormwater, proper management of the stormwater, our outfalls, make sure that we're properly addressing any pollutants, if there are any, that are accessing our stormwater through public properties, city-owned properties. The goal is, our initial meeting took place in December of 2024, and our corrective action plan to have all of this in place for our permit would be through March of 2026.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochi,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Ordinance number 11-25.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 047-24, authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with American Roadway Logistics for the 2024 road marking program and declaring an emergency.
A motion for suspension. Smith, second by Asbury. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochi,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Motion for third and final. Fluharty, second by Spinks. Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. As we worked through the 2024 road striping program, there were a number of items within the proposed bid from the contractor that were decreased where we did not finish or complete the planned items, which was expected, but there was also a number of increased items. Those increased items were additional verbiage that was included in the striping, as far as our lane lines, our broken whites, our transverse lines that were yellow, lane arrows for an example. Overall, with adding some of these items, it increased the total amount to $3,493. We're looking to amend this ordinance so we can pay the remaining balance and close out this program.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochee,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Ordinance number 12-25.
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Business Network Team for security cameras at the Bedford Commons and Historic District and declaring an emergency.
Motion for suspension by Fluharty, second by Spinks. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochee,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Motion for third and final by Asbury, second by Longino. Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. As many know, we worked to install security cameras throughout the Bedford Auto Mile. This was primarily funded by the Bedford Auto Mile, and those cameras are along Broadway and Rockside. They're tied directly into our police department. They have proven to be very successful. It's helped reduce any criminal activity. It's also helped us solve a number of cases. We have, over the last couple of years, utilized this technology and installed security cameras in some of our public spaces. For instance, most recently at the Bedford Municipal Pool. There's also cameras at our Ellenwood Center. One of the things the Bedford Auto Mile did a few years ago is they provided a donation of up to $50,000 to the city, and those funds were specifically earmarked for improvements to the Bedford Commons and security in the downtown area. One of the companies that we worked with, the Business Network Team, to install some of these, they provided state pricing for the Verkada system, which is state-of-the-art, very impressive. It's helped, like I said, at the pool house. It's helped with everyday tasks for us to monitor, for us to make sure the proper security measures are taking place. So what we did was we reached out to them. They put together, along with assistance from our Recreation Department and Service Department, they put together a proposal to install 11 cameras throughout the Commons and on Broadway. Those Broadway cameras are license plate reading cameras. Should there be any incidents where the PD, who has sole access to these, need to identify a vehicle, those will be in both directions on Broadway, and then coverage throughout the Historic District, coverage on the Bedford Historical Society facilities and that immediate space. I think it's will add a sense of security, especially with the significant improvements to the Commons, the expansion that we're planning for later this year. Having these cameras installed would be great.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochee,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Resolution number 2623-25.
A resolution authorizing a settlement agreement with University Hospitals, UH, and declaring an emergency.
We have a motion for suspension by Asbury, second by Smith. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochee,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
Motion for third and final by Fluharty, second by Spinks. Mike, you want to touch on that?
Sure. As the ordinance ordinance states, or resolution states, the city has been working through litigation to reach an amicable resolution to the abrupt closure of Bedford Hospital, which occurred in approximately August of 2022. We're happy to announce this evening, assuming that it's passed, that we have come to a mutual agreement with University Hospitals. I'll just briefly touch on some of the terms of that agreement. And those terms include property turnover. University Hospitals will transfer the Bedford Hospital site, including 11 plus acres, multiple buildings, to the city with no restrictive covenants on future use. We believe that this will pave the way for a potential healthcare provider to establish their presence on the southeast side of Cuyahoga County, or for economic redevelopment of that site to bring it back to a productive use in Bedford. There is also, UH agrees to pay the city $2.1 million. Medical services continuity, UH will continue to operate some medical services at the Bedford Medical Office Building. In site preparation, UH will remove hazardous materials and prepare the property for redevelopment within 180 days of the agreement signing. I think we're all optimistic about the outcome. I think it provides us with the resources to move forward from the closure, which obviously was something that none of us had wished for, but we move on. And I think this is a positive resolution and an amicable resolution with University Hospitals. I would say, in the coming days, weeks, and months, City Council and the administration, there'll be more for us to share, and we can get into those further discussions at that time.
Yeah, I just want to add, I'm going to give Mike and John a big shout out for the work they did through all this process for 2.5 years. It's been grueling. We finally got through it. So we've been kicking around all kind of ideas. What can we do with the hospital, the property, all that? But we couldn't do anything about it until this paper gets signed and sent to the court tomorrow. And then we can start publicly talking about things that we would like to see there, do their, later in a month or two, we'll have a, town hall meeting, yeah. So open to the public so we can get some of your input into what you might like to see there and do there. Like I say, we've gone from everything, and we try to think about every possibility, from getting another hospital in there all the way down to tearing everything down and everything in between. But none of it we could talk about it because we didn't have it yet. Tomorrow will be our property. We can develop it and go after some of these ideas that we had, and talk to other medical facilities and things like that to get the ball rolling on getting something happening there. We're open to everything, and like you say, it's been a long process, 2.5 years. Kudos to our lawyers, Ray and Steve, who worked alongside Mike and John to get this done. And a special thank you to Judge Stephen Gall from downtown, who was really a asset to this process. He could have, the very first day, he could have just said, yep, you don't have a case, goodbye. And he did sit us down with the officials from University Hospital. He sat in his conference room and he told all of us, you sit here, you make a decision, and get it done. He knew there was something that needed to be done. He wasn't going to just let UH walk away from the building. So, again,
he was very instrumental in getting this done, and he was just a great guy to deal with. I want to thank him. So it's been a long time coming, and we're gonna do the best that we can for the citizens and in the best interest of the city. Not what I think, not what Mike thinks, not what council thinks, but what everybody jointly thinks we need there and what we can get done there. And we will work just as hard getting something done as we did getting this process finished. So again, thanks to Mike and John, and appreciate all your hard work there. Vote on it?
All right, call the roll.
Smith,
Yes.
Asbury,
Yes.
Longino,
Yes.
Cochi,
Yes.
Spinks,
Yes.
Salvi,
Yes.
Fluharty.
Yes.
And now we come to hearing of citizens. If you wish to speak, please come forward, state your name, your address, and your comment.
Good evening, my name is Denise Lachowski. I'm a resident at 745 Archer Road. 3 items. First item is regarding the planning commission meeting that's going to occur tomorrow evening. Is that open to the public?
Yes.
What time and where?
It's right here in council chambers, and I believe it's 6 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, reminding me to say that.
Number 2, about the new security cameras that are going in at the Commons Historic District and around downtown Bedford there. You mentioned that the cameras are gonna kind of report back to the police, and I'm wondering if that's actually that it's gonna be live transmission to our dispatch center, or will it be transmission to the patrol vehicles? Or will it just be just recorded and have to be accessed afterwards?
We can watch live feed on that. They'll be transmitted to the vehicles, but ultimately they'll be also live streamed within the police department itself.
Okay.
That can be monitored.
So not just back
Not
to
to
the
say, I don't want
not
to give the
dispatch.
impression like we're sitting there just watching that. but,
Right.
You know, if it is I use the example, you know, the goal of some of this too is to be proactive, right? If it's a Thursday night or Thursday morning at 2:30, 3 in the morning, and we see 5 cars pull behind a business, that might be something to call the guys on the road and say, check that out, instead of waiting to see something happen and an alarm go off. So, you know, by monitoring that, or the Commons, or there's, 50 people down there at 1 in the morning throwing things, we're out there more proactive than reactive.
Yeah, I'm pleased to hear that it's, I'll say, going more or less accessed immediately if it needed to be or can be.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to get at. Thank you. And regarding the UH news, first of all, thank you very much for your efforts on the city's behalf. Question, does that settlement happen to include UH covering the city's legal fees?
It does not include the legal fees, no.
Damn. Put it on the record. That's a shame. But I appreciate everything that has been mentioned so far. And Stan, during your description, you mentioned that, once the documents are signed, so has this mutually been executed yet?
I can't say they've executed it. We are unable to execute it until we went through this process. And now that City Council has unanimously approved it, the mayor will execute that document, most likely this evening.
Okay.
And then we will, in a very short timeline, that'll get filed within Common Police Court downtown.
Okay.
And then there's a process though, like obviously there's things that have to be removed. So realistically, while the documents talks about 180 days, I think it'll be sooner than that.
Okay.
Where we would actually have full control. But we can talk about more of that either at a town hall or offline,
I was just asking my mutual execution question to make sure we didn't let the cat out of the bag too soon.
No.
All right, thank you, that was it.
I believe UH already signed it.
Yeah, that was executed last week by University Hospitals.
Great, thank you.
Hello. My name Jennifer Stevens, and I represent Schumacher Homes. And we are building a home. I'm here also on behalf of Nicole Blunt. And she is building at 188 Greencroft. I'm here actually to gain a clearer understanding of sewer, water, tap-in fees, the Greencroft culvert project, and to ask a few questions. So, I guess first, to gain a clear understanding of a homeowner's responsibility or a landowner's responsibility of where their property ends and the city picks up. My understanding is, you know, from reading different things and website explanations and things like that, it's after the sidewalk, in between the sidewalk and the road and under the road. The question that I'm asking and why, as some of you may or may not know, we have an issue with Ms. Blunt's tap-in that is damaged, and we are having a problem getting service. We're okay with providing the line from that point to the home, but we're going to need help from you all to get it tapped in. So, do you have anything to add there?
Not really, but I mean, I spoke to several of you previously, and I mean, I'm still waiting for the mayor to call back, but it's nothing like the sewer is in the city, in the street, which is the city property, and I'm just trying to understand why I'm responsible for paying for something that is in the middle of the street. And then also, I was told that when the home that was previously there, back in 2019, was demoed, the city told the demolition company to take the water line, which was on the property, completely out due to it leaking. And instead of them having the demo company coming back to repair it, they just left it like just with no water line. So I want to know a couple things. Why wasn't that information disclosed prior to like on documentations of like that actual land when it was being up for sale? And then also, why am I solely responsible for something that the city told the demolition company to do and not repair?
Mike?
Yeah, I'll touch on just a couple of the items. As far as like if the water line was damaged and leaking and it was told to be removed, I believe, and just correct me if I'm wrong, that was before you owned the property, correct? You bought it after when it was vacant, is that accurate?
I bought the land.
The land, that's what I mean, I'm sorry. So, I mean, there's many occasions where we've either torn properties down or the land bank's torn properties down. And on some occasions, like if Bedford owns it, it doesn't get redeveloped. Like sometimes we'll offer that vacant land to the neighbors. The land bank sometimes will donate that land as green space to the city. So there was no guarantee that there would ever be a house on it again. So if the water line was leaking and it was damaged, and we said to leaking, we wouldn't have had them put a new water line in. We didn't know the future of that property. I mean, we're required under, I believe, our ordinances, and I don't have it memorized, I can look and get you the ordinance number, to provide the public utility in the street. That's what our requirement is. We don't provide the laterals, and we historically, I mean, I talked to a couple of different staff members, and I think we've gone back like 40 years, and the city has never actually provided the tap-in, you know, that work. You know, I did offer a couple different ways to try to work to assist you, but when it comes to like those improvements to private property, we can't make investments to private property.
Sure.
Public property, roadways and things that, you know, restoring a roadway, yes.
Okay.
That's why, you know, if the water line was damaged for that reason, you know, we wouldn't have known, yeah, replace the water line 20 feet in, there's gonna be a house here. Well, what if the house is 50 feet? We're not gonna make them go back 50 feet. At the time when it was leaking, sure, remove it. You know, I know in some of, and I can only speak to examples that we've worked with Dominion, and I'll actually give you an example of one personal property. Dominion, when they demoed, or if there's been a vacant house, they've cut it in the road. That gas line is cut. It's one of their, that's what they do. They cap it there. They don't cap it inside by the home. They don't cap it like within the property. That's where they do that at.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I can only speak to why they told them to remove it. If it was leaking, that's why. We wouldn't have known that there was any plans. What if a home was never built there? It wouldn't have made sense to have someone run a brand new water line and tap that in. We wouldn't have done that work or authorized that because there's no knowledge of, you know, down the road, new home, where's that home going to be located? How long does that lateral have to go?
Right, okay.
And I can look for that ordinance as far as the city's responsibility, as far as providing the public utilities. We have to provide them, obviously, yes, in the roadway, and that's for water and sewer.
Okay. That's what my understanding is also, and so that's, you know, if it was at the main and abandoned at the main and we connect to the main, that's our responsibility to connect to the main, but if there's damage at the main, I would assume that's the city's responsibility.
If the main's damaged?
Yes, or the cap, or if it's not capped at the tap end. It gets a little gray, you know what I'm saying? So, that's what I'm here to kind of clarify, so. Additionally, on the Greencroft Road culvert replacement, I guess, any resident that currently lives on the road and how they're benefiting from it, are they benefiting from new sewer lines, water line, sewer main lines?
Sure.
Main water lines, main.
Like, is there plans for improvement?
Correct.
Yeah, so I can tell you right now, and we spoke about that project down the street, that is a city project, that culvert project.
Okay.
It's city funded.
Okay.
We obviously, it's an emergency repair, so we actually worked through a program. I had referenced our engineering firm earlier that, they assisted us with identifying loan dollars through it's called the SIB loan, the State Infrastructure Bank.
Okay.
So we had been approved for them to fund that. It's a loan, we have to repay that amount back. That is replacing that culvert. And in addition to replacing the culvert, underneath the culvert is the water line runs from obviously Broadway all the way down underneath the culvert and all the way back. They're replacing the water line, underneath the culvert, and then a new culvert, and then obviously the roadway, bridge, whatever it's classified as, that'll be put back in place. The reason we're doing the water line just under the culvert is over the years that is identified as a line that in the future we would look to replace. So if we're doing that section underneath the culvert, or if the culvert's getting replaced, you do that now. This way in the future, whenever we would go back, just from a proper planning standpoint, we don't have to mess with that culvert. We run a new line, connect it there, and then connect it on the other side and go up.
Okay.
We haven't identified when any of that would take place. And I'll be honest, I'm not versed in the age and the condition right now of the sewer. I'd have to go back and check and check base with our service department in regards to that. As far as the city's responsibility, and where our responsibility meets the homeowner's responsibility.
Okay,
I do believe there's legislation, I'd hate to give you the wrong number.
I understand,
And you look at the wrong document, so I can pull that and share that.
Yeah, we're just trying to, I mean, Nicole unfortunately is at a standstill with this. She secured a construction loan to build the home and put in the utilities to meet at the street like we would normally do with any other home build. And when we ran into this issue, you know, we can't see what's under the road when we do any kind of lot investigation kind of thing. So this came as a big surprise to us that there was damage or there was a leak and that there was going to be some serious excavation that needed to be done when, you know, we started to put the utilities in. Started to get quotes from our own excavators and things like that. And our excavators are telling us one thing and y'all are telling us another thing. And so it's kind of a tug of war. Unfortunately, her construction loan only included so much to build the home, do the utilities, put driveway in, you know, and it's maxed out because of appraisal. You know, it's only going to appraise for the value of what is surrounding her area and her income. So that being said, Schumacher Homes, we have discounted everything that we can possibly discount. We've lowered the cost of utilities, fees, percentages that we would normally get profit on. We're done with that. So we are humbly asking for help for one of your future citizens and taxpayers to see if there is anything that can be done.
Do you have a card, ma'am?
I did not bring one with me. I I'm from about an hour and a half from here, but
When we're done, so it's not.
I'll give you my,
You can write down
I'll
your
jot down my
contact
info.
information, and I
Yeah.
can follow up with you.
okay.
I
Yeah.
need you to give out your personal information on a recorded.
No, that's okay. No, I'd be happy to.
Okay.
But yeah, and again, not trying to make waves or anything, but again, trying to just gain a clear understanding of maybe how we can all work together to help Nicole. It's gonna be a beautiful home in that area and, you know, just trying to get her some help. So appreciate you guys all hearing me out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Nicole, apologize for not calling you back, but as soon as I got off the phone with you, I called Mike, said, make sure he gets a hold of you. That's why I personally didn't call you back. Yeah, just one. And Schumacher has a good reputation.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Seeing none, have a motion for adjournment by Spinks, second by Fluharty. Call the roll, please.